I was just trying to sort my bills, you know? It was one of those boring Tuesday evenings, nothing unusual, just a stack of envelopes, junk mail, and a few coupons I knew I'd never use. I was halfway through the pile when I noticed it. A crisp, white envelope from the local school district, addressed to someone named Angela Morton. At my address. That caught my attention real quick because I live alone. No Angela here. No kids. No relatives. Just me and a dog who barks at his own reflection, and even he seemed confused by the sudden influx of mail that wasn't ours. At first, I thought it was a simple mix-up, happens all the time, right? Mail gets routed wrong, clerical errors, maybe someone moved and forgot to update their info. But when I opened it, it wasn't junk. It wasn't a mistake. It was a confirmation letter. It had my full address, down to the lot number, and it said Angela's daughter had been successfully enrolled in Lincoln Elementary School for the coming year. Now listen, Lincoln Elementary isn't just any school. It's part of one of the top-rated school districts in the entire state. Families relocate just to be in that zone. People lie, bribe, rent fake apartments, anything to get their kids a shot at that education. So I wasn't dealing with a casual oversight. This was deliberate. This was calculated. Someone was actively using my home, my name, my neighborhood to game the system. I won't lie. At first, I chuckled. Like, okay, this is bold. But that chuckle didn't last. As I thought more about it, that humor turned into a slow simmering anger. This wasn't just some harmless little mix-up. This was fraud. Someone was stealing a benefit they weren't entitled to and dragging me into it without a second thought. They were using my home address, and in doing so, they were making me a silent accomplice. It felt invasive, like someone had walked through my leave-wying room without taking off their shoes. It was more than just mail. It was a violation of space and trust and legality. And I wasn't about to let it slide. So I did what any rational, mildly tech-savvy person would do. I hit the internet. I pulled up the name from the letter, scoured Facebook, checked PDA groups, neighborhood Facebook pages, anything that might give me a clue. And eventually, I found her Angela Morton. PTA meeting photo. Cupcake tray in hand. Beaming. And standing right next to her, like the icing on a rotten cake? Karen. Our HOA president. Karen is the kind of woman who walks around the neighborhood like she's the mayor of a town no one asked her to govern. Clipboard in hand. Knows exactly when your grass is half an inch too long. Wears those pastel sweater sets like she's leading a suburban military unit. And always has something to say about your recycling bins. Now, I didn't want to jump to conclusions. But the fact that Angela was hugging up on Karen in a public photo like they were family got my radar buzzing. So I started waiting. Every day, I checked the mailbox. And wouldn't you know it, more mail came. Report cards. Welcome letters. Even a school district map highlighting pickup zones. It was like watching a slow moving train of entitlement barrel right through my front yard. I decided I needed to confront Karen. So I waited for the next HOA community brunch, one of those events where she passes out flavored water and stale muffins while judging your front porch decor. She was sipping from a mug that said Queen of Everything, which was just about as subtle as a neon sign. Hey, Karen, I said, keeping it casual. You know anyone named Angela Morton? She smiled that tight little smile she does when she's trying to act pleasant, but really wants you to go choke on a gluten-free scone. Oh, sure, she said. Angela's my cousin. Lovely woman. Her daughter just got into Lincoln. We all so proud. I nodded, slow and steady. Yeah, funny thing. Seems like she used my address for that. Karen's face didn't budge at first, but I saw it. That little flicker in her eyes. That half second of, oh, before she rearranged her expression into something neutral. Well, she said, syrupy sweet, you know how it is. Families just need a little help sometimes. And you don't even have kids. What's the harm? I could have lost it right there. But I didn't. I kept it together. The harm, I said carefully, is that it's illegal. Using a false address for school enrollment is educational fraud. It's a crime, Karen. She had the gall to scoff. "You're going to call the police over a little girl going to school?" "No," I said. "I'm going to call the school district." And that's exactly what I did. I gathered up the mail, took scans, wrote a clear summary of the situation, and emailed it to the district superintendent's office. Within 48 hours, they replied. They were taking it seriously. An investigation was underway. Days passed. Then came the district board meeting. I showed up early, sat in the back. Karen strolled in with Angela, both of them dressed like they were headed to a country club brunch. Laughing, whispering, like they already knew they'd get away with it. But when the superintendent began reading their findings, it was like dropping a stone into a still pond. Silence rippled outward. Angela had listed my full address on all official documents. No lease. No utility records. No proof of residency. Security footage from a neighbor's Ring camera even showed her sneaking up to my mailbox more than once to retrieve documents. Karen stood up, tried to interrupt. Said it was a temporary emergency housing situation. Said Angela had stayed with me briefly. I stood up too. Held out a printed statement. "I don't know this woman. She has never lived with me. I never gave her permission to use my address." The room went quiet as a courtroom. The board revoked the school enrollment on the spot. But that wasn't the end of it. The school reported the fraud to the state. Angela faced potential fines and charges. Karen? The HOA board called an emergency meeting and voted her out. Seems most of them were sick of her behavior too. Turns out I wasn't the only one she'd stepped on. The week after that, things changed. The fake mail stopped. Karen's smug attitude deflated. Angela disappeared from the neighborhood Facebook groups. But what surprised me most were the quiet reactions. Neighbors I barely knew started nodding at me. Some even dropped off thank you notes. One old guy said, "Took guts to do what you did." And maybe it did. But more than that, it just felt right. Sometimes doing the right thing isn't about bravery, it's about refusing to let wrong keep winning. So I'll ask you, what would you have done? Would you have stayed quiet? Shrugged it off? Or would you have done what I did, stood your ground, followed through, and reminded folks like Karen that rules do still matter? Let me know below. Because I bet some of you have stories like mine. And maybe it's time people started listening. Especially to the ones who don't make noise but who always see what's really going on. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story on Store of Good Stories. If this story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to hit like and share the video to spread this positive message to more people. And if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the meaningful stories we share every week. Your support is the biggest motivation for Store of Good Stories to keep bringing heartfelt and valuable stories to you. See you in the next video.